Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to For Strategy Gaming. Time for once again some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today it will be a series between SaSe and Gosu's Pokebuni. We're in the map Cloud Kingdom, spawning in the upper right hand spawn location. Our blue Terran player is Pokebuni. Little information on him, currently the 30th ranked Grandmaster in America, also the 118th ranked in the world. He has got 111 wins and 80 losses. Down over here in the lower left-hand spawn position, we have got SaSe, our red Protoss player. Now, I don't have any information on him so far this season. Not sure if he's been playing many ladder games or what, but a little info on him in general. He placed first place in the StarCraft 2 XMG Series Season 2, also placing third place at the MLG European Invitational 2011, and third place at the IGN Pro League Season 4 UK qualifiers. Obviously, a very strong Protoss player. Alright, so it is going to be a Terran versus Protoss here, Pokebuni versus SaSe here on Cloud Kingdom. This map is actually pretty cool. I'm liking it thus far. I haven't seen too many games on it so far, but I'll be interested to see how the matchups end up playing out here on this map. I look forward to casting more games on it, plus visually it looks pretty cool. Gateway gets placed down here for SaSe. He then immediately pulls out with that probe scout. We'll be heading straight to that upper right hand location. On this map there are only 2 spawn locations, so you will know where your opponent is at the start of the game. Pokebuni building his buildings nice and close here. This is going to do a couple things. Number one, this SCV isn't away from mining for very long. You can see he's going to be going straight back to that mineral patch once this finishes. The other thing too is that once this probe moves in, he is of course very likely to try to do a bit of harass and some damage there to the SCV building the racks. But since this is built so close, it would be very easy for Pokebuni to prevent that from happening. And actually you can see the probe moving in just as that racks finishes. So unfortunately there for SaSe, not able to do too much damage from the onset here. Pokebuni will be opening up with a 1-Rax expand. You can see no refineries at all, and that is something that has been spotted as well by SaSe, so he now knows that Pokebuni will be early expanding, and he can respond accordingly. Second SCV moving out, that will be building the command center here at the natural expansion. We do have that first Marine popping out as well. SaSe, unfortunately for him, not going to be able to kill off that SCV. He tried so hard to do harass this early game, but wasn't able to. Excellent work there by Pokebuni. Also, his scout was a little late, so that played a role into it as well. He could have scouted earlier, but at the same time, he would have not had as many resources as this probe would have been off the line for a little while longer. Moving on in here, Pokebuni gets a full scout, sees everything that is standard from a Protoss player early game. This is pretty much all you're going to see. At around the 4-minute mark here, you can't expect too much else. He's going to be checking to see if anything was dropped after this Cybercore. Nothing yet, though. And since a Stalker's coming out, that SCV will be forced on back. We got a pylon over here for SaSe. He then pulls on back home with his probe. We'll be very interested to see when that comes into play here. He may very well be planning some sort of early aggression. He will be now expanding, but he still has the opportunity to push out with a 3-gate aggressive push to coincide with this expansion. Let's see if he gets another 2 gateways here. Did he show the assimilator and then cancel it off? I think he may have. No, he didn't. Never mind. Back over here, we got a Zealot and Stalker push on and up. Couple Marines, unfortunately, aren't really enough, especially with that Stalker having that range advantage. Not only that, but the Stalker also has the speed advantage. And unfortunately for Pokebuni, this is not going to be the greatest situations here. Even though small amount of aggression looks to be really painful. We got a few SCVs pulling on down to help assist with this engagement here. The Zealot and Stalker ready to continue up here. And be pushing back and forth. He continues to soften up those Marines. He already has 1 kill. There's killed. Oh, he's got 3 kills. Oh man, SaSe doing a tremendous amount of damage early on. Look at that. Already killed 4 units. 237 resources lost so far for Pokebuni. He's going to be losing this SCV. Bunker still isn't up. And Pokebuni is having a very difficult time here with this aggression. We had a bunch of SCVs pulling down. He's finally managed to kill off the Zealot. Not going to be able to kill off that Stalker, though. We still just have Marines. Let this be a lesson to you, my friends. If you scout your Terran opponent going a 1-Rax expand, what do you know? For one, you know he is likely to just be with Marines and bunkers early on. So if you can hit early enough with the Zealot and Stalker, and you've got the micro capabilities, you can do quite a bit of damage. I think we saw an SCV scout. There it is right there. Pokebuni did move in with an SCV scout. He managed to check that warp gate. He did spot that robotics as well. He should have seen that building. Yes, he did. So he knows that there's a robo coming on through. In addition to that, we will be seeing 4 gateways. It's going to be a 4-gate robo here in the onset from SaSe. SaSe continuing to try to chase down that SCV. I still love that flying shark. I think it's phenomenal. Wish I could click on him too. Gonna be trying to work down these destructible rocks right now, as SaSe is planning to do a little bit of damage here, a little bit of aggression early on. He's pretty happy with the early damage he's already done. Might look to try to add on to that. The pylon is now coming into effect as we're seeing units being warped in over here in SaSe with 2 Zealots, 3 Sentries, and 2 Stalkers planning to make a push here. 2 more gateways finished very shortly. Those should go immediately into warp gates, and we should probably see that add to the damage here, add to the amount of units being warped in. Now, we don't expect SaSe to actually win the game here, not at all. He is just hoping to try to do some damage and basically add on to his already advantage. Let's take a look at the number of workers killed. You can see SaSe managing to kill off 5 SCVs. That's pretty much solely from this engagement that took place over here just a few moments ago. And again, SaSe looking to add on to that. Now we got 3 racks churning out units. We have a factory coming out, so we'll be working his way up into Starport. Stimpak and concussive shells will be holding off on that combat shield. And here we go, SaSe now feeling like it's the time to push. Moving forward, Guardian shield gets placed down. Nice force field wall, even trapping and freezing one of those poor Marines there, and forcing all these guys to come up the line. And look, that in and of itself is a bit of damage. You can consider that damage because not mining time really does hurt Pokebuni. And you can see SaSe decided not to walk into the bunker there. Instead, just trying to force those guys off the line like he did, get a few more kills, and that's about it. Again, forcing more SCVs off the line. Just his existence, his presence here at the front of Pokebuni's base is providing a huge disturbance to Pokebuni and really hindering his early game economy. And this is really, SaSe doesn't even need to engage here. Just needs to threaten an engagement and make Pokebuni respond by pulling down with SCVs. It's hilarious. It really is a riot. Pokebuni trying to move down. Now he's got Stimpak in play now. Concussive Shell is also done. He's not going to be able to stay here too much longer. Still will be trying to do as much damage as he can while it's still relevant. Observer now moving up, and it looks like SaSe deciding it's time to retreat. Let's take a look here. Resources lost. Again, Pokebuni's still behind. And also keep in mind, all that time that those SCVs were off the line, basically the entire line got pulled off for a few seconds a couple of times. And that might not seem like a lot, but it really does add up. Especially given the fact that SaSe had to deal with none of that, and he just was freely mining without issue back over here. Has been working his way up to Colossus during all of that. Teching up, look at that macro. We got a Thermal Lance upgrade coming out, level 1, a weapons upgrade, and Colossus. Back over here for Pokebuni. Game's not over, although he's behind right now. The game is certainly not over. We haven't had any major engagements yet. Now, Pokebuni is planning to get a third. SaSe has spotted that there with the Observer. He also knows that medevacs are on the way through. Probably wants to keep an eye on that medevac. Be like, hey, Medi, where you going? Pokebuni deciding now is the time to counter as he wants to return the favor there to SaSe. SaSe already doing a bunch of damage. Pokebuni is trying to say, hey, you know what? I think I'll do some damage in return. Now we do have 1 Colossus in place. 2nd Colossus coming out. Without that Thermal Lance, not nearly as effective. Stim Bio can get close enough to snipe that down. We've got a 3rd being constructed over here, and it looks like Pokebuni will actually be heading straight towards that. We got this ramp leading right into it. He's going to force a cancel here, most likely, although SaSe is responding at a pretty good time here, and he's got that Colossus. This is not looking good for Pokebuni. Spreading out his forces, now stimming up and pulling forward. He's going to try to snipe that Colossus. Nice micro there by SaSe, trying to keep him back and safe. Bio splitting up as much as he can. Doing a pretty good job here with this micro, but he's also not doing damage every time he's running away. It's got to be something to pay attention to. Colossus gets a few shots off on that, gets it to half health there, but then forced back by the rest of the ground forces here from SaSe. Continuing to micro back. His units are very injured right now. The poor medevac about to get sniped out of the sky. See ya later. Bio loses its stim. Gonna allow those stalkers to catch up. Gets to head back home as soon as possible. We got some more bio over here. I'm not really sure how successful that was, and unfortunately it looks like a counterattack's coming here from SaSe. SaSe got another Colossus in play. He should have one. There it is. Why is that not heading with the rest of the army? That'd be fantastic if you were to grab that Colossus and bring him with this. That would be great. Maybe not looking to engage quite as of yet. We got 2 Vikings just about to pop. 2 Vikings already in play as Pokebuni makes that transition, knowing that Colossus are coming out. Charged Zealots will be the transition over here for SaSe. SaSe also coming out with another Colossus and the level 2 weapons upgrade, level 1 armor. Almost done here. Really disappointed. There we go. Finally drops a scan to get rid of that Observer. I was going to say that thing sat there for far too long. Got to try to pay attention to those little what do we want to call them? Rippling waves, those little lines there that you're going to see when you have a cloaked unit. Really got to try to make sure that if that's happening, you're like, hey, let me take care of that, because that is no bueno. No bueno indeed. Pokebuni continuing to work up with his bio and Vikings, and he's likely to stick with that. We've got 3 more racks coming out. Blink research over here for SaSe, also level 2 armor upgrade and the Templar Archives, as he will be making that transition, knowing that Viking Heavy is the response that Pokebuni is going with to those Colossus. Transitioning into Archons and or High Templar will prove to be very effective here for SaSe. More and more upgrades, also tons of upgrades coming out here for Pokebuni, finally getting that combat shield. He has got the level 2 weapons, level 1 armor upgrades also coming out, and again, as you can see, just bio and Vikings, bio and Vikings. I want to throw a couple more medevacs in there. Working down those rocks a little bit more. Is he going to finally destroy those? Nah, he's holding off for now. We got a 4th coming out over here for SaSe. SaSe trying to take an economic lead here. Take a quick look at the income right now, about even. SaSe has a little bit more Vespian being gathered, but that is also because, well, Pokebuni doesn't need as much Vespian. So don't be tricked by that. Don't be like, oh, SaSe is super far ahead economically. They're pretty much even. Pokebuni, his unit composition doesn't really necessitate much Vespian, and that's why he doesn't have as much. Warp Prism coming through. High Templar getting warped in. I'll be interested to see when that Warp Prism comes into play, what he plans on doing with that. He could use it to lift up High Templar to prevent EMP damage, although Pokebuni doesn't even have Ghost yet, just now getting his Ghost Academy. Massive Vikings pushing forward to try to snipe down those Colossus. End up walking over all that anti-air, take a lot of damage. Now charge Zealotr in play. Be aware that Pokebuni is going to have a hard time dealing with that. The anti-air keeping those Vikings at bay. Really like the positioning here from SaSe. He's doing a good job trying to just basically force a stim and then not engage with those stimmed units. You can see now all those units are injured up, and this one medevac is going to take a long time to heal all of those units back up. So forcing a stim, dropping a force field wall, and keeping that bio at bay is a really great way to kind of soften up that bio before your engagement. That looks to be exactly what SaSe is doing. Pokebuni looking to retaliate here. He is coming out with a drop. Unfortunately, that might be walking right by that Warp Prism. Like, looks like it's just going to be Warp Prism over here, a proxy pylon type of power to let those charged zealots go into this expansion. This is going to be a huge headache here for Pokebuni, as it will be taking a bit of damage. Losing a total now of 10 SCVs so far this game. How unfortunate. That's going to happen more and more as well. Drop moving on over in this direction. And it doesn't look like SaSe is actually aware of that. Now we got that Warp Prism mobilizing. Now he may be dropping in back of the main or over there at that 3rd. Here's a drop in the back. We're seeing a lot of Warp-ins though. That's going to be taken care of very quickly. Forced to lift off. Blink Stalker's almost sniping it out. Don't quite get it though. Comes in engagement as Pokebuni is moving forward. Nice Observer Scout there from SaSe. Storm right on top of the Vikings. Blink Stalker sniping out a few there as well. Big storms on the bio. Colossus trying to engage Vikings, doing what they can to snipe down the Colossus. The bio is getting decimated right now. Colossus gets sniped down from the bio, but there's nothing left. Pokebuni calls the GG. From the onset of this game, SaSe was ahead with the early game Zealot and Stalker pressure. He maintained that lead throughout the rest of the game with wonderful aggression and defense and this beautiful engagement. Alright guys, that is game number 1 here between SaSe and Gosu's Pokebuni. We'll be moving on to game 2 in just a moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.